So we finally have way more details on exactly how Nova was going to be included in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. And it just so happens to line up with some of the previous things we've heard, but now we got a little bit more. So let's talk about this and what the Human Rocket would have offered to those films. So in case you're not caught up, they've been trying to get Nova in the MCU for the better part of this decade. They've really been trying, but they haven't had the correct storyline and the correct amount of time to be able to place him in there. It's a character that doesn't really need a whole lot of introduction once you've set the basics up, which they have started to lay down the foundation, but he does need some way to be introduced and kind of explain his power levels and everything and why he's so important. Well, as it turns out, we've already talked about it here, there's been multiple attempts to put him into the MCU, into different films, but now we know exactly how Richard Rider was supposed to come in at one of the earlier stages of the recent Avengers films. So here's what they said. So this is directly from the Avengers writers, Marcus and McFeely, who we've talked about plenty. So here's what they said, and I quote, "I remember in the big manifesto thing that we did, where the first work we did on these movies, where we just every possible storyline that you could take from what's around, that Nova has the Xandarian world mind." Now, just a quick catch up, the world mind essentially would have given Nova knowledge of everything, so he would have been ready to take on Thanos, and he would have kind of, been more prepared than some of the other characters. Now, here's how this would have tied into Avengers Infinity War to kick off everything. If you guys look at the opening of that film, where instead of Silver Surfer getting sent down to the Sanctorum like in the comics, they replaced him with the Hulk. This was originally supposed to be Nova. Nova would have talked to the World Mind, who would have had the voice of Glenn Close, who of course was in the previous Guardians film, and now she passes on the knowledge. He knows about the decimation of Xandar because obviously he was there and he's a sole survivor. So he would have taken that knowledge and he would have been sent to Earth to the Sanctum Sanctorum to warn Doctor Strange and Iron Man of the danger that's approaching, which of course would have been Thanos. So you can kind of see how the film would have been structured in that way, but when they started looking at it and approaching it from a more realistic standpoint, and then when you see where the actual films leading up to it left off, like Thor Ragnarok, they realized it had to be the Hulk because of the nature of his story. So that's why Nova ended up getting the axe. So what do you guys think about this? How do you feel about this? And do you think this could have worked out a lot better? I think Infinity War worked perfectly the way it did, and I'm even shocked it even worked at all considering how much they had to take. But honestly, I love it the way it is, and I'm glad they're actually holding Nova off because I want to see him done justice in like a standalone film. That's just me for his first appearance. Maybe you guys have a different opinion. You can let me know down below. And as always, thank you everybody for watching. If you don't mind, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you check out the little join tab down below for members, we do offer some extra content on the side, CW show reviews, gaming podcasts, and various other things you guys can check out that'll supplement what we do here.